Even within the same vocabulary system, the way of doing things can vary significantly depending on the school. There are sun sailors in Okinawa who have such different ways of doing things that I wonder. As a result, generally speaking, not many people practice sunsail even now. However, I was rigorously trained in sunsail by my master. Sunsail has always been deeply ingrained in my body, so it is one of my favorite things. I did it in a way that would help you understand the various aspects of decomposition within it. Also, I had you practice the important part of entering a technique today. I hope you will be fortunate enough to acquire the use of your hands there. That's what I wish for. Please do this simultaneously with that. In the case of the physical hand, it is included. Basically, it's a system where you have to press the opponent with this hand at the same time as the thrust. It looks like this at the shoulder, so please go a little. When going through the shoulder, it takes this form of system. When the left thrust comes at this time, it looks like this at the shoulder. But this hand must seal the opponent. The basic idea is to thrust from now on without sealing. So if you thrust like this, the next person must advance while also needing to grasp this hand again. The basic move is to thrust. Therefore, after thrusting like this, the next person must advance while also entering another thrust with the left hand. So what we did earlier, actually you should enter here and perform the thrust. I think you understand now. Because the person's body is slightly tilted, rather than this thrust, entering like this will better control the standoff. You understand the general idea, right? So because the shoulder is forward, it doesn't mean everything should be brought forward. What comes forward is that the direction always changes depending on the opponent's body from the middle. So it becomes a standing posture close to being blocked in the middle. The standing posture, like being blocked or standing inside the shoulders, where you can move freely anywhere. If you can move freely in a square stance, it's over. In a square stance, you can't move forward, backward, left, or right. Although the front stance is strong forward, you can also receive sideways. There is no perfect stance in all stances. The most stable stance, the square stance, is the most inconvenient stance. At the same time, in actual combat, the square stance is, in particular, it is often fatal in the battle of striking. Then, why is the posture bad in karate? The posture is mostly used for throwing techniques. Actually, there is no need to have a proper posture for actual combat. That is the way to stand firmly for oneself. But this is also a posture. It's a posture that moves smoothly. So it doesn't matter if the way to stand for oneself and the way to create techniques are different. So, what I often hear is, at Kubo-sensei's place, you hardly ever do the cat stance, they say. I do it with my shoulders, but I don't make them do the cat steps in sparring practice. Everyone thinks that the shoulders are more like this. Oh, I didn't notice. We don't know how much we are doing the cat steps. This is the cat step. If you say pop, this is the cat step. So it's not like we're not doing the shoulder cat steps. Actual battles are like that. It's not very neat, but please stand firmly to create it. When you use it, please move more freely. The forward bends of the shoulders, the heels are touching, right? However, those who have actually done 10 sets will immediately notice that the rhythm is one beat slower when the heels are touching. Those who have fought will understand this immediately. The reason for doing the shoulders is to build the foundation for everything. When you actually do Ponrom, being fast is natural. However, if we talk about the differences with other things, especially the Sanjin stance, the front foot should be slightly turned inward. The back foot should be facing forward. In this form, it is essential that the thrust of the front shoulder and the thrust of the front foot are in the same direction. And the direction of the hind leg and the reverse thrust must be in the same direction. So when you change this to a forward stance, it becomes like this. In actual combat, make sure your feet are facing the direction of the thrust. Remember to do that firmly. So when you defeat someone, it's all the same. Throws are also the same. People who have experience in boxing will understand this. Boxers don't step their feet outward and do this kind of thrust, right? They always step inward slightly. That's also the same for everything. So boxers do their thrusts like this. Because the heel is raised, there's no mistake. By lifting the heel, it aligns the direction of the foot with the direction of the sword. Please do it while understanding that well. Hey, nobody got it wrong. Actually, even in Okinawa, they sometimes say, people who only focus on the shoulders and have no experience in sparring, when they watch people sparring, they feel like that's wrong, that's wrong. Well then, give it a try. In short, if you want to argue back, then try experiencing it yourself. So in the cultural battles in Okinawa, even if you lose, come out and compete. If you do that, you will realize how immature your skills are. When you realize your immaturity, you will think about how your training should be. Because you understand, you should experience it. It's okay to lose. If you only focus on winning, financial experience will become the same kind of training. But by losing, you can practice overcoming your own shortcomings. I do boxing in a way that emphasizes the importance of losing. I just mentioned this financial experience. When your opponent grabs your hand, it's good for basic muscle training to grip and release. But in reality, it's easier to release when open. So practice by opening until you get used to it, grip firmly and do it. Next, how to release. Grab with your right hand, right hand. As for the sensation of this part, when this part is grabbed, take this. First, breaking the opponent's hand in this form is the priority. Please remember the next move. You're taking it like this, right? At this point, the opponent will try to escape. Let's do it over there. This is how you break it down, and then the next way to take it. It's assumed that you will take this point, take this, and break down the opponent here. The technique is to take the opponent's leg in this position and flip them over. First, let's try it up to this point. Next, we will move on to the footwork technique. Please practice facing each other. They are quite similar, slightly off. Okay, push here, push this. That's about right. Push here, push here. Relax your strength. There may be some people who are difficult to talk to. In terms of location, this is it for now. You just need to remove this bone. If you do this, it will come out. Don't break it yet. Try to remove it as it is. If the other party breaks it, you can just take it as it is. Down, down. Give it a try. Okay, follow my guidance.
誘導に従って、はい、そうそう、今ならそれは取れるでしょう。はい、
Yes, now you should be able to take that. When you do the shoulder pass, it's the right hand, so take the right hand like this. At this time, if you do this,
踏み込んでいって取りますけど、この時これを外さない。でそのまま
step in with the right foot of the back leg and take it, but do not let go of this at this
膝
time.
をつけといて、
Just like that, attach this towards the
こ
knee.
のままでこう倒します。こういう感覚を覚えてて、OK。
Keep the knee down, take this, and continue like this. Take down like this. Remember this feeling. And this,
何かの拍子にこれガンとくるから、これをさせない。もうここまで来たら、
yes. Next, depending on something, since this will come forcefully, don't let them do this. When you reach this point, the opponent won't give anything anymore.
抜いてごらん。はい。固め技ですけど、とりあえずそこまでやってみましょう。
This right hand absolutely won't slip out. Don't let it slip out. Even though the shoulder is flexible, let's try doing it up to that point for now.
こうします。はい、どうぞ。ここを押せ。
If it's like this, keep holding this as it is, and this, do it like this. Okay, press here.
いいよ。これね、この人ちょっと柔らかいから、こういう柔らかい人ね、こういうふうにするんです。
This person is a bit soft, so soft people like this do it like this.
できる？
Can you do it?
こう取ってます。はい。でそのままこの足にこれを。もっと膝くっついて、で膝落として、はいはい、ここまで来たら、はい、
Like this, I'm holding it like this. Then put this on this leg, get closer to the knee, drop the knee.
はい、ここに持ってきて、まだまだこっちに、はい、そこまで来たらもう足で押さえられるんですよ。
When you get here, this is here. So as soon as you knock it down, hold it like this, with this hand, like this from below. Yes, bring it here. Still more towards this side. Once you reach there, it can be held down with the foot, the knee.
そういう形で固められるんだということをちょっと理解してやってみてください。
Can you do it on both sides? Yes, this has a playful part at the end, but let's try to understand that it can be solidified in that way. As for the shoulder, we will do a two-stage kick. In reality, a two-stage kick is a bit risky. The first kick of a two-stage kick is originally done to stop the opponent's front leg. The next kick is a mid-level kick. It's a two-level kick with the shoulder, but in our case, we don't actually do the two-level kick. That's why at this initial stage, the opponent is completely broken and fixed. Kicking twice continuously with a front kick from here is the breakdown. Let's try this kick from this part. I will teach you this, but it's the right cheek. It goes in with a whoosh. This is how it enters with the shoulder. Receive it from above with your hand like this. This is the breakdown. Let's remember this way of taking it recently. If you can do this, the opponent seems completely receptive. You also try to catch it with the hand you catch it with. No, when it comes, you go to take it with this hand. While going to take it with this hand, that hand follows. So induce this the moment you receive it. So when you receive it, when it comes, bring it to this hand with this hand. Don't go to take it with this. There's no time to go to take it with this hand. When it comes with a bang, turn this around and keep going. Because this is in, it goes smoothly. This side is different. Take your time. Come to this position. Don't pick it up with your right hand. Use your left hand for the right side. Use your left hand to separate this. Once it's separated, bring it to the right side with your left hand. That's why it's closely attached when using both hands. Guiding it towards this side with the left hand, guide with the left hand, and make sure to pick it up accurately. When picked up accurately, it will come apart with a snap. Can I take it now? Yes, that's fine. The movement of the shoulder is like this, entering and popping out from the shoulder. However, in reality, whether you can do this or not, basically hardly at all. That means the position of the mid-level thrust. When people thrust at mid-level, rather than thrusting directly, they thrust to the point of piercing through. In so-called Sundo competitions, it's like this. But in actual cases, when thrusting, it enters from here and exits through the back. If he were to receive that, absolutely, he wouldn't be able to kick with his right hand. So because it's too close, the knee kick will hit, but the kick won't hit. Let's try to do that among the understanding people there. If you receive it in this form, if we break what we do, we break it here. If it comes back and hits hard, it goes in here. So even if we call it a shoulder pass, in reality, the way you use your shoulders and limbs may differ. Depending on the current reverse screen, if only the shoulders and limbs become a shoulder pass, ultimately, when you receive a thrust, it comes from here and goes pawn. If it's this distance, everyone understands that it will go in. From the elbow, everything. So please understand that this is how it is among those who understand. It's pointless to break down this part here, so I won't break it down. Thank you. There's something I want you to do a little here. This is what is known as the various hand thrusting part. It is done in a shoulder width stance. There is nothing necessary for a shoulder width stance. So doing it in a shoulder width stance means it's not actually done in a shoulder width stance. It's for creating a posture. The Sanseru at Mr. Ida Juhachi's place doesn't take a shiko stance. Did it momentarily become a neko-ashi? Just when you think it's going to take a shiko stance, it quickly retracts its foot into a neko-ashi and then proceeds to step in further. This is the way it's done at Mr. Ida Juhachi's place. I've tried the Shotezuki several times, so I understand. I've never used the Shotezuki in a match, so I haven't used it. Basically, it's not usable, right? The reason why there are various types of thrusts is simply combining completely different techniques. So to thrust with various hands means practicing this thrust and that thrust together. When actually using it, if you are a practitioner of the full contact style, you can use it like this. If you say, that's the part of the various hand thrusts, you will generally start to understand before. Of course, the majority of the coordination in the front space is based on direct thrusts. It's quite difficult to score points with a straight punch. I end up not doing these kinds of punches at all with straight punches. There are striking techniques, though. Actually, just doing this is very effective. It's enough to be strong, so make sure to train properly. Understand that this part is about consecutive punches. Please practice while keeping that in mind. The reason why we do it like that is because when used like this, while rotating this, you thrust while rotating your upper body, right? Actually, that's the correct way to use it. When thrusting like this, with various hands, the movement of the upper body, the use of the hips, and the use of the back all come together. Just like in Sanshin, you learn muscle development in that way and practice it to make it happen. So words like chinkuchi or gamaku are all for creating forms like that. Therefore, when using the created chinkuchi or gamaku, they must be used freely. When resting, make sure to rest properly from the basics, and when using, use them freely. That's why practicing those rests or doing that is the form. Many people say that if you only do forms, you won't understand the forms. However, those who do not practice forms in heavy industry, some people say that forms are meaningless. This is because such people do not understand the purpose of forms. Of course, it is a human adult fight. So whether there are forms or not when fighting, a fight is a fight. Whether it's a children's fight or an extremely high-level fight, a fight is a fight. Therefore, it is impossible to say that hitting someone is low level just because it is basic. When it comes to fighting, there is no such thing as being bad at basics. However, at the advanced level, those who can perform at a high level can also do so with composure. I feel that I want them to practice and acquire high-level techniques for that purpose. There is this kind of part at the end of Sanseru. It's what you might call this part. At this time, pay close attention to how you use your hands and the position of your fingers. Where should I place my fingers? Like this? How about this? Okay, now try lifting my fingers. Why does the position of the fingers change? Can you tell the difference here? That's why if you don't remember to keep your shoulders firm, all these parts will go out of alignment. So I'm really sorry when I get countered by someone. You were all thrown earlier, but let me show you how to do this. Please do it in this position. Can you still endure it? Enduring means being able to do this. However, once it gets to this point, yes, I can't endure anything. Please do it one more time. One more time. Please smoothly insert your thumb there, okay? See? You can brace yourself. Remember to bring this instantly to this when it's taken away. This is not a game. If the position of your finger shifts, all techniques will change. So it's crucial to remember it accurately. And of course, this is both defense and offense. A way of being taken or not taken, like now, you have to use this technique for everything. Therefore, calling it a defense, you absolutely cannot respond to the defense with this technique. Of course, you can also strike like this. So look at the position of the thumb, try taking it in reverse. You got caught, right? Well then try throwing. There you go. Remember this. Being able to endure means you can attack. No, that's not it. That's not it. Against this move. Against this move, exactly. By being in this position, pushing and resisting makes it effective. People who can't do this, once they've come this far, are already caught. By firmly taking the position of the fingers, you can resist. Being able to resist means the opposite hand can be used for attack. So the moment you are almost taken by the opponent, defend with this and strike with this. Yes, yes, yes. Being able to resist again means that hand can now be used for attack. So even if you try to control one hand with both hands, it's not working. There is a technique of not being able to stab this, but for now, taking measures to avoid this, taking this while doing this, this goes in. Being able to do this technique now means that the opponent is immediately hit in that spot. The technique of this last part. This is a technique where you press your fingertips above and below the collarbone to sink the opponent as is. The aim is to press your fingers towards this hollow of the collarbone. So this last part is about that. Of course, when removing it, it's like this. But when pressing above and below the collarbone, press down, press your fingertips above and below the collarbone as is. It's a technique to sink the opponent as is. Of course, when removing it, it's like this. But when pressing above and below the collarbone, press down. This time, you will enter a position where you grip the collarbone, as mentioned earlier. At first glance, this may seem impossible, but if you actually try it, it will be extremely tight and you won't be able to move clearly. Those who want to try, go ahead. Uh-oh. I'll strike this into the hollow of the collarbone. If I don't strike it, I'll take this here next. It seems like nothing, but it became extremely tight. Okay? Tap it here. The technique is to strike this with your finger. This goes in at the moment of impact. Right now, I'm just pressing. This goes in. All that's left is to grip here tightly. Anyone can be caught with this technique. Thank you. Thank you. I can do it with any arm.